Here's something that's going to sound completely backwards in our hyper-connected world. The fastest way to become unrecognizable, to completely transform who you are, is to disappear. Not forever, but strategically. And I'm not talking about some mystical retreat or expensive wellness getaway. I'm talking about engineering your own disappearance right where you are, creating what I call a dark room for your transformation. You know how photographers develop beautiful images? It doesn't happen under bright lights with everyone watching. It happens in complete darkness, in isolation, where the chemical process of transformation can actually occur. Your life works the same way. The version of you that you're capable of becoming, the one that makes people say what happened to them, they're completely different. That person can only emerge in the dark room. And here's the thing that nobody tells you. Every single person you admire, everyone who's achieved something remarkable, they all spent time in their dark room. They just don't talk about it because we're obsessed with showing the highlight reel. But today we're going deep into the mechanics of personal transformation, the actual blueprint that turns ordinary people into the unrecognizable versions of themselves. And I'm going to show you exactly how to build your own darkroom, starting today. Before we get into the blueprint, you need to understand why this darkroom period is absolutely non-negotiable in today's world. We're living in what I call the attention theft crisis, and it's way worse than you think. There's this study that blows my mind every time I think about it. Researchers put people in a quiet room for just 15 minutes. No phone, no stimulation, nothing to do. But they gave them one option. They could press a button to give themselves a painful electric shock. Now, before the experiment, every single person tried the shock and said they'd literally pay money to never experience it again. So what happened when they were left alone with their thoughts for 15 minutes? 67% of men chose to shock themselves rather than sit quietly. One guy hit that button 190 times in 15 minutes. Think about that. We've become so addicted to external stimulation, so disconnected from our inner world, that physical pain is preferable to being alone with ourselves. And this isn't new. There's a philosopher named Blaise Pascal who wrote in the 1600s that all of humanity's problems come from our inability to sit quietly in a room alone. 400 years ago, he saw this. But here's what's changed. The thieves of your attention have become infinitely more sophisticated. Did you know it takes 23 minutes to regain focus after a single distraction? 23 minutes. And how many notifications are you getting every hour? The math is devastating. You're never actually focused on anything meaningful because you're in a constant state of recovery from the last distraction. And here's the part that should make you angry. This is intentional. Your attention is currency. Companies are paying billions of dollars to figure out how to steal more of it because when you're focused outward, consuming, reacting, scrolling, you can be sold to. You can be controlled. Your power, your actual creative force, it only exists when you're focused inward. But we've forgotten how to do that. Here's the paradox that changed everything for me. We're rewarded in public for what we practice in private. Every person standing on a stage, holding a trophy, celebrating a victory, they're being celebrated for years of work that nobody saw. Carl Jung said that people who look outside dream, but people who look inside awaken. And when you study the patterns of exceptional achievement, this dark room principle shows up everywhere. Isaac Newton made his biggest breakthroughs when he isolated himself at his family's farm. Einstein's contributions to physics came from long periods of solitary thought. Nikola Tesla would disappear into seclusion for extended periods. These weren't coincidences. Solitude wasn't something they did in addition to their great work. Solitude was the environment that made the great work possible. And there's a reason for this. When you're embedded in your normal routine, surrounded by the same people, the same inputs, the same patterns, you're operating on autopilot. Your brain is running programs that were installed years ago. You're not creating, you're executing. You're not designing your life, you're reacting to it. The darkroom period breaks this cycle. It gives you the bandwidth to actually examine those programs, to question them, to rewrite them. Lincoln had this quote about chopping down a tree. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. That's what the darkroom does. It's where you sharpen yourself. And here's what nobody tells you. You can't. So how do you actually build this dark room in your real life without moving to a cave in the mountains? The first step is getting crystal clear on your target. You need to define exactly what the highest version of yourself looks like. Not vague aspirations, specific details. What do they think about? How do they handle stress? What's their physical condition? What's their emotional intelligence? What habits do they have? I want you to write this down in extreme detail because if it's not on paper, it's just vapor. It'll disappear the moment life gets hard. This document becomes your North Star for the entire darkroom period. Now here's where it gets real. You have to create filters. The darkroom isn't just about what you add to your life, it's primarily about what you remove. And this is where most people fail because they try to do this halfway. They say they're going to transform, but they keep all the same inputs, the same influences, the same patterns. It's like trying to bake a perfect cake, but adding just a little bit of poison to the batter. Would you eat that cake? No. So why are you consuming content, spending time with people, engaging in habits that are poisoning your transformation? You need to ruthlessly eliminate anything that doesn't serve the highest version of yourself. And yes, that includes friends. I know that sounds harsh, but here's the reality. If someone in your life is a neutral or negative influence right now, they need to be in the waiting room. You're performing surgery on yourself. They can visit after you're healed. Tell them directly and kindly that you're working on something important and you won't be available for a while. If they care about you, they'll understand. If they don't understand, that tells you everything you need to know. Next, you need to upgrade your operating system. For most people, this means addressing how you think. Your thoughts create your reality, and most of us are running on faulty thinking patterns that we've never examined. Cognitive behavioral therapy principles are game-changing here because they reveal how we make ourselves miserable through distorted thinking. When you learn to recognize and interrupt these patterns, everything shifts. You stop suffering unnecessarily. You see opportunities instead of obstacles. Your default response to life changes. And here's the thing. You can learn this yourself. You don't need years of therapy. Start with one book, really study it, apply it ruthlessly for 66 days. Studies show that's roughly how long it takes to rewire neural pathways and create new default responses. Now you install new programming. This is where you become deliberate about what goes into your mind. Ask yourself, what does the highest version of me consume daily? What do they read? What do they study? Make a list of the top 3 books in the area where you want to become an expert. Read 1 per month. In 5 years, you'll be in the top 5% of experts in that field globally. This is exactly what I did when my life wasn't where I wanted it to be. I realized that if I upgraded my information, I would upgrade my life. And it worked. Your body is your vehicle through life. And during the dark room period, you're going to treat it like a temple. Not because you are your body, but because how you feel about your body directly impacts everything else. When you don't like what you see in the mirror, that dissatisfaction bleeds into your confidence, your relationships, your work, everything. So we're going to change what you see. And the formula is simple. Nutrition is queen, exercise is king, and together they create your kingdom. On nutrition, we're keeping this powerful but simple. Real whole foods only. Nothing processed, nothing packaged, nothing that comes in a bag or box with ingredients you can't pronounce. There's this concept called G-bombs, greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds, plus some wild-caught fish. These are the most anti-inflammatory, health-promoting foods on the planet. During your dark room period, this is your fuel. You're also going to hydrate properly for the first time in your life. Most people are chronically dehydrated and don't even know it. You should be drinking between ½ ounce to 1 ounce of water per pound of body weight daily. Carry a bottle with you everywhere. Make it visible. Use visual triggers to remind yourself. And supplement the big 4. Vitamin D, vitamin K2, magnesium, and zinc. Billions of people are deficient in these, and correcting these deficiencies will dramatically improve your clarity, energy, and mood. For movement, walk 8,000 to 10,000 steps every day. Walking is the king of exercises. It's the only one proven to reverse heart disease, it reduces cancer risk, it raises serotonin better than antidepressants. Use meals as a trigger. After every meal, walk for at least 10 minutes. Longer is better. Then exercise intensely 3 to 5 times per week for an hour. I recommend resistance training because it not only improves cardiovascular health, it literally shapes your body into what you want to see in the mirror. And here's the secret that separates people who transform from people who don't. Keep a journal of everything you do. Track every workout, every meal, every step. You have to track it to crack it. When you journal, you leverage progressive overload, which means you're constantly improving, constantly pushing slightly beyond what you did before. This is how transformation becomes inevitable. The final pillar of the dark room is the most important and the most neglected, your spiritual foundation. Whatever tradition resonates with you, whether it's Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, Hinduism, Judaism, whatever connects you to something deeper than yourself, you need to engage with it for 1 hour every day during this period. Read the texts, listen to teachings, watch sermons. This isn't optional. Spirituality provides the deepest grounding in life. Steve Jobs made sure every person at his funeral received a copy of Autobiography of a Yogi, a spiritual text he read every single year. Not a business book, not a technology manual, a spiritual book. Because he understood that material success without spiritual depth is hollow. Beyond study, practice awareness. Sit quietly for anywhere from 1 minute to an hour and simply observe your thoughts. Don't judge them. Don't try to change them. Just watch them arise and pass away like clouds. Within 1 week of doing this daily, you'll notice a profound shift. Things that used to trigger you won't anymore. You'll respond instead of react. You'll find peace in situations that used to create chaos. Take this off the meditation cushion and into real life with simple practices. Take one fully conscious breath every single day. Just one breath where you're completely aware of the inhale and exhale. This alone can transform your relationship with stress. And before every meal, pause and give gratitude. Thank the farmer, the soil, the plants, the animals, the chef, whoever contributed to that meal reaching you. This simple practice will make every meal 10 times better and ground you in appreciation. Here's the truth that ties all of this together. The dark room period isn't about punishing yourself or becoming a hermit forever. It's about creating the conditions for transformation that are impossible in your normal environment. It's about proving to yourself that you have the discipline, the vision, the strength to become unrecognizable. When you emerge from your dark room, people will notice. They'll ask what changed. And you'll know that everything changed because you finally gave yourself the gift of focused, uninterrupted, intentional growth. The question isn't whether this works. The question is whether you're willing to do what works. Your dark room is waiting. Step inside.